Hello and welcome to the Blaze Bell Show. This week we are talking all things tapping. EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, is my absolute favorite healing tool, and I have a tapping expert here for us this week. Karla Mejia is an energy queen and intuitive coach who gently guides her clients through healing their hearts so they can free their soul and live a happy, fearless life. In this episode, we dive into how to manage anxiety and isolation, tips for navigating change, and Karla leads us through a guided tapping meditation that you can return to anytime. Now let's dive into this beautiful conversation. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm so excited. Today, we are talking to Karla Mejia, and we have been connected for a couple of years now through Solvay, and I love having you on my social media feed. Actually, I have something that you made that I keep right here at my desk. I just realized these are both sitting here. The Goddess Flower Blend.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
Yes. I love them so much. Anyway, Karla's here with us today, and she is a tapping and Reiki practitioner. She's a full-time entrepreneur and just a really magical, incredible human. And so just thank you. Thanks for chatting with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you live, and what got you into this line of work.
So I live in Ontario, Canada, which is super cold, similar to Alaska, but I think a little bit warmer in the summer. I got into tapping and Reiki because I have gone through several points in my life, whether it was like trauma or anxiety, or I just really knew that in order for me to be at my best, I needed healing. And EFT was just something that I kept coming back to over and over again. I got certified as an intuitive coach over 5 years ago, and still tapping was still coming back as one of the major tools that I would use for myself. And I wanted to be able to use it with clients too. So I got certified in tapping not too long ago, and I'm just loving it.
Oh, that's so exciting. Yeah, I have such a big journey recovering from PTSD from sexual assault and a home invasion. And, it's so interesting how something can happen to us that is just this kind of blip in time that ends up haunting us for so long because our mind gets rewired like so quickly. And, and so the recovery from that has just been such an interesting journey. And PTSD specifically seemed to be something that was hard to find, like how to heal from this thing. And I think because it's complex, because everyone's PTSD shows up a little differently, maybe there's flashbacks or these random triggers you're not expecting. And tapping, man, that, and I came upon that and saw that it was one of the main things used, like that worked for war vets,
Yeah.
and which is just so incredible. And
Yeah.
so I started using that, and man, I think it is my number one tool. I think it's the most useful healing tool that I have found in existence. So I love that you're into it.
Yeah, it's similar to you. I experienced gun violence, and it's just, you feel like nobody else understands what you're going through and what like the side effects of PTSD or your anxiety or paranoia or whatever it is. And the shifts that happen in just one session of EFT is just amazing. And yeah, when I heard that it was used for veterans, I was like, okay, like I have to jump in because like I can't take it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's so cool that there are, you can become certified in that now.
Yeah,
I just
definitely.
do a lot of like with my clients, sometimes I'll do it with them and then, send them to YouTube videos of all my favorites and,
Yeah.
hope for the best. But I think with, having that real deep, like teaching program, that's,
Hmm.
that's the way to go.
Yeah,
So cool.
definitely.
And there's something that just popped into my mind that I haven't ever shared, but
with tapping and PTSD, one of my biggest triggers in the beginning, like not long after my attack, was masks and like ski masks because the person had their face covered. And if I saw anyone with a mask, I would immediately have flashbacks and panic. And this was something, 15 years ago now. And it dawned on me not too long ago that like, oh my God, my healing has come so far because everyone is walking around with their face covered and I don't have any
Yeah,
triggers. And it's just like
that's
when I realized that, I'm like, holy shit, it's just that is the power of some of this healing that sometimes we don't feel it in the moment, or we're like, is it even happening? Or, but I had a bad day, It's like,
yeah,
no, it's happening. And layer by layer, things have shifted and our brain is rewiring if we allow it to. So it's
yeah.
pretty awesome.
That is amazing. That's big. That's really big.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels really, really good. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about the Reiki and well, let me say real quick, the reason I started this podcast, I started it in 2020,
Hmm.
something I wanted to do for a long time, but then the pandemic hit where we're all like losing our minds, what's going on? And I'm someone who has a whole bunch of healing tools and I didn't know what to do. I felt really lost and I thought, what's everybody else doing and
Yeah.
feeling? And so I, called up all my friends who are healers and said, let's like just share some tools. So, that's why I started this. And I think we're still kind of in it. I don't know what it's like in Canada, but
It's still, yeah, it's still going on. You can't do much. Everything's restricted. We're, yeah, it's a little bit different than the States, I think.
yeah, I've heard a little bit of that. I have. Yeah. So
Yeah.
how has that been for you and like as a business owner and just navigating that and helping others through that and clients and friends and family?
Yeah, so it's definitely been an interesting ride because I quit my corporate job November right before COVID started. um, so just yeah, and my full-time business was a home spa, like doing lashes and facials, which you are not allowed to do. Even now, we're starting to open up for like the third time, but they do it in phases. So I'm still not able to open up my home spa, um, and just navigating the people around me with their anxiety and watching the news and oh my god, is everything going to be okay, and dealing with money, like how, like I'm not going back to my old job. There's no way that's going to happen, and really working on my mindset around money to make sure that I was good throughout this whole pandemic has been such a blessing. With the anxiety with the news, no longer watch the news, but just anxiety with even Instagram. Like there's always things that pop up, or friends and family or whoever it is that are posting about what's happening in the world. Being able to not get triggered and stay neutral has been very powerful for me. And just being able to stay in my own bubble of energy and just working on myself. Um, I think that's what EFT has brought to me, but also with my clients, and just like I have clients that haven't left their house this whole time. Like everything gets delivered and the anxiety that they have, and just being able to work through that and do what feels right for them, um, has been great for them. I find that with EFT, because it brings your brain out of a stressful state, like fight or flight response, it neutralizes the nervous system and it brings you into a resting state. That's when solutions come. That's when the clarity comes. That's when you're able to tap into your intuition. And so allowing people to tap into their own guidance and come up with their own solutions, I absolutely love. And being able to shift out of the anxiety and the fear that, is running rampant across the world, um, has been great to be able to support people with that throughout the pandemic.
Oh my gosh, that is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm a sucker for a good conspiracy theory. And so that just made everything so much harder.
I know, because it just sounds so outrageous, but then you see like the evidence and and you're just, it's so hard. And
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, where I land is I'm never going to know the full truth. So that's it. Like, why bother? Like, I'll do it for fun, but I can't get into arguments or like discuss it with people because it just, no one knows the actual truth, and that's just how it is.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And, just like everything, it comes down to what do I believe? What do I choose to believe? What resonates with me in my gut? What feels true to me? And the hard part about that is that's going to be different for different people. And because we're all here like on a different path. And so, yeah, I was really struggling for a while because, oh man, I went down too many rabbit holes. And then, it was just like every side of things, it was
Makes
bad
sense.
news. It was bad news. Well,
There's
yeah. And
bad news and it makes sense, and you're just like,
yeah, I
we're
would
so
get,
screwed.
right. I would have a friend who was super passionate on one end, and I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And then a friend super passionate opposite. And I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, and I think, and I'm someone who like normally I know what I want and I have my opinion set, and I was just so confused. And
I know.
so I finally had to just block everyone else out and go back to within myself and really check in. Like for me, it's all about my gut, my gut feelings and like what's my body telling me, and
Yeah.
what's right for me, because all
Mhm.
these things are right for somebody, but what do I need to do in this life, So I finally got my answers, but it felt so wild getting there. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
I love the description you were just giving of tapping. So for people that have never heard of it, can you talk a little bit more about what is happening when we tap, and what's the whole idea behind it?
Yes. So it's like acupuncture, but without the needles. So we have energy centers within our bodies, and when we tap on them using our fingertips, it helps to neutralize the nervous system. They call it like a somatic approach to healing or cognitive therapy. It's basically a talk therapy. So as you're talking about whatever's triggering you or making you feel yucky inside, you're tapping on these points as you're speaking out loud. And some people think that talking about whatever's shitty in your life is activating it, but because you're tapping, it's neutralizing the situation. And once you're neutralized, it opens up your subconscious mind so that you can reprogram a new story. So it's great for mindset work and also for trauma when you get to um, kind of retell the story in a way that's empowering to you. So, for example, going through gun violence and just like that was the day that, my ex-boyfriend's life almost ended and like all these horrible things happened and blah blah blah. I could harp on that and get stuck in that of like, oh my god, I'm in danger, I'm in danger. But instead you can neutralize the fear and that story, quiet that story down. And was able to reprogram. That was the day that I found out how powerful and resilient I am. That was the day that I found out how powerful my voice is and how important it is to speak up and, ask for help. That was the day that blah, blah, blah. So finding the lessons and then really anchoring those in to your identity of I'm no longer the victim. I'm the person who's resilient and who can overcome anything and move forward and still live a great life despite all these, not so great things that have happened. Um, so that's what tapping is. So you're tapping on different points of your body as you're talking, and you don't have to tap on all the points if you don't want to. Each point um, affects your body differently because it's connected to a different energy center. But the basic points are on the side of your hand where your pinky is to your wrist, on top of your head, right where your eyebrow starts, on the side where your temple is, underneath your eyes, underneath your nose, underneath your bottom lip, on your collarbone point, and some people add in underneath your armpit and underneath your rib cage, and your wrist points you can do too. So some people don't do all of them. Some people do even their fingertips. But really, you could just tap on wherever you feel guided to, and there's no right or wrong way to do it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I've never heard of it under the rib cage.
Yeah.
I did see a video once of a lady who was like, what, I don't remember which finger, might have been, yeah, I don't know, but
You can tap on all the fingertips on the side of the finger bed. I think what the thing behind it is that each finger is linked to like a different zodiac or planet or something, and it's like Mercury's for communication, and I forget what finger that is. So I think
oh,
it's like linked that way. But it's also like reflexology with the foot and the hand, where different parts of your hand are linked to different organs in the body. So it's all connected. So yeah, so just tapping on however you feel good. Like I know if I'm out in public or in a meeting, I can underneath the desk like tap on my fingertips, and that will help me calm down without looking weird or crazy or drawing attention
yeah,
to myself.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was just telling a client earlier today that I've even tapped like in the bathroom stall at work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and just silently, and I'll just like stand in there and just think about whatever it is and just tap on the points and get
Mm,
that little wave of relief. And,
yeah.
and I love what you said about after doing it, having your subconscious mind open up a bit and being able to reframe, reprogram, change your mindset. I haven't heard that part talked about very much. And I think, but first you're saying you go into the actual feelings, because I think that's the
Yeah.
biggest
Yeah.
difference.
You
Where
have to start in the feelings. You have to start in the feelings so that you can release them and neutralize the nervous system, because only then is your mind open, or your subconscious mind open to be like to being reprogrammed. If you're still in fight or flight response, you can say your affirmations all day long and you won't see a change.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. I think in so much of this work, we just skip to the affirmation thinking, if I just say I'm happy 1,000 times, it'll happen. And it's like,
Yeah.
meanwhile, I'm crying in the bathroom and I'm miserable, and it's like, it's not doing anything. All it's doing is you're lying to yourself, and your body knows that too. So
Yeah.
I think it takes people so off guard to actually say, like,
Yeah.
my kids are so annoying, they're driving me insane, or like, just getting down and dirty with like things that you're feeling and going through. But
Yeah.
their relief is, it can be really, really huge.
I think it's part of the healing to shine the light on the pain, to acknowledge it. Like the pain is there because you need to acknowledge it in order to heal it and move through it. You have to feel it. So that's definitely the most important part of tapping, I think.
Yeah. And I think too, like, it seems like we live in a world where it's just all hustle, hustle, hustle. You're rewarded for being busy and for not being emotional. And so we go through all these experiences, small and large, and suppress them, suppress them. I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. How are you doing? I'm fine. And it's like, nobody's fine. Like,
Yeah.
so you went through something, um, and just the more we suppress, then all those little things, and there's probably a big thing stuck in there somewhere, and it, all of a sudden you're exploding at a weird time, or it's just coming out, or you're
For
just
me, it's crying at like
dead.
the most awkward, unfortunate times where it's like, if I don't get a hold of this now, like I've been through that where I never want that to happen again. So I need to be proactive to deal with it. Otherwise, it's gonna get ugly.
Yeah. Or I think we've seen that too in other people where they just
Yeah.
all of a sudden are taking their anger out in a really bizarre place. And you're like, I don't think this is about that,
Yep.
So, yeah, I think it's really powerful to start just releasing that so we can feel like, for me, I just feel lighter. It feels like this weight is being lifted every time I tap. And sometimes
Yeah.
the change feels this big, other times it's like a whole new world.
But
So,
those little changes add up. they add up, and then over time it's a bigger, like, you didn't even realize until not too long ago that you were no longer triggered by people wearing masks. And
Yeah.
that's, so
Yeah.
it happens little by little, and then eventually your life is completely different.
Yeah. It's so true. And I'm
Hmm.
so glad that that popped into my head because again, I haven't talked about that with anyone yet. And now just thinking about it right now, like I can think of a time when I was at work and I looked out the window and saw some, I mean, I'm in Alaska, it's cold, and just some guy was walking down the sidewalk with a ski mask, and I like immediately ducked under my desk and was
Yeah.
hiding. And I was at work, and it's just like from that to me, like I love wearing a mask at the grocery store because
Yeah.
I've lived in this town forever. I always like see people I know and I don't always want to, you know what I mean? Not in a rude way, but it's like, let me just like wear my pajama pants to the grocery store and no one needs to know. And so now it's like, I got my mask and my sunglasses. Sometimes I'll put on a hat and I'm like, I'm incognito.
Yeah.
And people are like, hey, Blaze. Still, it's like, yeah. So the fact that even I can do that and everyone around me, and it's just like, it didn't even cross my mind for months. So yeah, I mean, to me, that's just such a huge testament that healing is possible.
Yeah.
And that's just one example, one thing that's changed, and there's a lot. So yeah, awesome. Could we do an example of tapping? Could you lead us through some sort of tapping sequence? You can choose, but it could be maybe
If you
something.
have any suggestions, I'm open to them on what topics you think your people would like.
Yeah, I mean, anxiety and stress. I know that sounds like really kind of basic, but I think that's just so common. I've experienced a lot of anxiety this year to like levels I had never before, and so I think that's something that a lot of us are going through. Um, you talked about navigating change, that there's some things that you are focusing on with your work, and so if there's something around that.
Okay, that sounds good. We can definitely do that. Are you ready to get started?
I say, well, let's go for it.
Okay, let's do it. So taking a nice deep breath, just relaxing into your body. I want you to imagine whatever's making you anxious, whatever's stressing you out, and I want you to put it into a box in front of you. And when you think of this box and all of the things that are stressing you out, I want you to give yourself a rating from 1 to 10. How triggered, stressed out, anxious does it make you feel? And I just want you to keep note of that number because we're going to rate ourselves at the end. And then when you're ready, you can either keep your eyes closed or open them, and you can start tapping on the side of the hand in between the pinky and the wrist. It's called the karate chop point, and you're just going to repeat after me. Even though I feel so anxious, I'm choosing to love, honor, and accept myself anyways. Even though I have this box of all of these things that are driving me absolutely crazy, and I have no idea what to do about it, I'm choosing to love, honor, and accept myself anyways. Starting at the top of the head. I'm feeling so anxious. Eyebrow point. I feel this tightness in my chest. Side of the eye. I can't even breathe. Underneath the eyes. I don't know what to do about it. Underneath the nose. I've already tried so many things. Underneath the mouth. and nothing seems to be working. Collarbone point. I just feel stuck underneath the arms. And it just makes me more anxious. Underneath the chest. I feel like I'm being crushed by this box. Wrist points. I mean, why can't I figure this all out? Top of the head. All of this anxiety. Eyebrow point. It's just taking over my brain and my body. Side of the eye. I feel like I have no control. Underneath the eyes. And that makes me feel crazy. Underneath the nose. And all I want to do is control every detail. Underneath the mouth. And the harder I try to control, the worse it gets. Collarbone point. I just don't understand. Underneath the arms. How am I going to get through this? Underneath the chest. Even though I have no idea how, I'm open to a solution. Wrist points. I'm open to letting it go. Top of the head. Could you imagine if I could just set this box on fire? Eyebrow point. And get rid of everything that's stressing me out. Side of the eye. Wouldn't that be amazing? Underneath the eyes. I wonder what would it take? Underneath the nose. What would it take for me to find a solution? Underneath the mouth. What would it take for me to take one step forward? Collarbone point. I mean, I've done so much with my life. Underneath the arms. I've accomplished so many things. Underneath the chest. I know I'm capable. Wrist points. And I'm open to finding the solution now. Top of the head. I bet you the solution's right in front of my face. Eyebrow point. And all I have to do is look at it. Side of the eye. All I have to do is be open to it. Underneath the eyes. I can be open to solutions. Underneath the nose. I can be open to letting this go. Underneath the mouth. I'm starting to feel the shift. Collarbone point. The tightness in my chest is starting to dissipate. Underneath the arms. I know that I'm capable. Underneath the chest. I know that I've done hard things before. Wrist points. And I know I can do it again. Top of the head. I'm actually starting to get some ideas. Eyebrow point. I think I know what I need to do. Side of the eye. And I think this is going to be easier than I thought. Underneath the eyes. All I have to do is focus on one step. Underneath the nose. And I know I can do that. Underneath the mouth. I just want to feel at peace and relaxed. Collarbone point, and I think I'm almost there. Underneath the arms. I know that I'm in control here. Underneath the chest. I know this box of anxiety is just a story I keep telling myself. Wrist points, and I'm ready to tell a new story. Top of the head. I want my story to be filled with love. Eyebrow point. I want this story to be filled with confidence. Side of the eye. And most importantly, I want to feel at peace. Underneath the eyes. I'm even starting to breathe deeper now. Underneath the nose. And I'm starting to feel better in my body. Underneath the mouth. I think I'm actually doing it. Collarbone point. I'm in a calm state now. Underneath the arms. I can think clearly. Underneath the chest. And I know what to do next. Okay. Take a nice deep breath. Hold it at the top. And exhale. And now I just want you to tap back into that box that was giving you anxiety and stress, and just see on a scale of 1 to 10 where you're at with that now, and see that it's come down a bit more.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's an example of tapping.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. That was amazing. Everything you were saying, especially that first round, was like exactly how I was feeling a month ago. So thank you for being able to, I think sometimes we struggle to put into words what we're feeling too. And it's like, just get it out. So I
Yeah,
think
definitely.
this is awesome. It's going to help a lot of people. I can't wait now to share it.
Thank you.
Yes. And yeah, thank you. Yeah, I started at a 7.5 and now I'm at a 4.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
So anything I think 5 and under is when your brain's like, your subconscious mind is now open. It's ready to take in a new story. You can reprogram it, and you're over neutral. I think 5 is around neutral. So now you're tipped over to the other end of the scale. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And I love how at the end we're giving openings to, I think I know what to do now, and take one step at a time, and I have some new ideas. And, that was encouraging me. I normally don't go that far. I just like get all the bad stuff out and then go on with my day. So.
No. Yeah, no, that's the thing I think about the training that I got, and the person that I learned from is and all the years of mindset work. Like, I think you also follow Amanda Francis and Dr. Joe Dispenza, and just opening up your mind by asking questions of like, what would it take? Because then your brain takes a direction of what you tell it to. So once you start asking questions, it starts to like try to figure out the answer for you, and do the work for you. So I find it really helpful to just start telling a new story of, okay, now I'm figuring this out. Like, I'm no longer stuck. I'm now in the process of shifting this and moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Joe Dispenza and Amanda Francis, they both have some really, really incredible work.
They
Yeah.
do. I like them.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm reading the Superpower book by Joe Dispenza. Oh, what's it called?
Supernatural.
Supernatural. Yes. Yes.
Yes,
So
awesome.
good. Yeah. Beautiful. So, any other, like, for people listening right now, especially maybe where you are or in states that are still pretty locked down, and where us humans don't like feeling that lack of control and the uncertainty is just so challenging. So, do you have any messages for the peoples that are struggling right now and maybe wanting to change and not knowing how or how to navigate the world right now?
Yes. So I think the first thing is just focusing on the things that you can control, that you do have control over in your life, focusing on that, and also playing around with all of your options. So I get that we can't do, it's harder to travel or we can't like go to clubs or restaurants like we used to, but look at the things that you can do and then start playing around with ideas and, just trying to find the joy in the things that you can do. So right now it's summertime here, so I can go outside, I can go for hikes, I can, do all kinds of things like go play and we don't have a beach here because we're in the middle of the country, but like go to the river and our little, camping or whatever it is. Like what can I do? And out of the things that I can do, what would feel really good for me to do? And start looking, the more you start looking for solutions, the more solutions will find you. So there's a saying in the Course in Miracles, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So it's the same with opening your mind up to solutions and asking what would it take? Like, how do you want to feel right now? What's that core desire? If you want adventure, if you want to feel at peace, if you want to feel joy, getting clear on how you want to feel. And then what are your options? What can you do to feel that and to embody that and to bring more of that into your life? Because just because you can't do stuff or like the government is doing one thing and you want to do something else doesn't mean that you have to be miserable. You can enjoy yourself on your own terms in a safe way. You just have to look at all your options. Don't think you're stuck. You're never stuck. You always have a choice. So figure out what your options are so then you can make a choice and just take one step, just take one action step, and that's it. And then that will lead to the next action step and the next, and you'll find your way.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for talking about how you want to feel. And I
Yeah.
know Danielle Laporte has a lot of great work around the desire map, has some
Yes.
great questions to lead you
Love
and
that.
help you
Yeah.
find out how do I want to feel? Not how much money do I want, not what job do I want,
Yeah.
like making that shift to how do I want to feel? What does that amount of money, what feeling do I have attached to that? And
Mhm.
are there other ways to have that feeling? Not that we don't want the money too, but you know what I mean? It's like
When
that was
you're
the
no, I was just gonna say when you're unattached to the money and you get to feel the way you want to feel anyways, then the money will come or the thing will come if you just focus on the feeling and you're unattached to what it looks like or how you get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's such a fun thing that happens when you start to focus on the feeling. At least for me, I stopped setting goals like I want XYZ job and just went, I want to feel free, flexible, valued, yada, yada.
Mhm.
And opportunities have come in time and time again now, constantly, that are things I didn't know existed. And so I think that's the beauty of it. It's like when we make a list of our checklist, we're thinking of things that our brain has heard of. There might be something that is like way more amazing for us that checks off every feeling we've ever wanted to feel, but we don't know it exists. So it's not going to be on our little list, you know? So just opening our mind to like this or better, something better than I've ever imagined. Like that's when things get really fun, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Because then you're just like unlimited to the possibilities. And it's so much funner when Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about it when you're I forget the wording, but you're delightfully surprised and it just keeps getting better and better.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Unlimited. That's a good one.
Yes.
That's a good feeling to lean into. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Karla. Are you taking clients right now? Like, I'm definitely going to make sure to give all your links, but are you open for clients? Cool.
Yeah, I definitely am.
Do you do one on one or group or?
I'm doing one-on-one. I'm working on building out a course right now for creating change with intention, but for now it's one-on-one.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, I'll make sure everyone knows where to find you. Also, again, I'm really obsessed with your flower blends. I know this is like a side project of yours, but my favorite one is Amplify and Magnetize. I use it basically every day. I also have Radiant Goddess
Yeah.
But I gotta say, this Amplify one, why do I love it so much? What is in it? What's it doing to me? Because I'm obsessed with it. Oh, aphrodisiac.
It's an aphrodisiac. So the reason why I made these is I started off because I would get anxiety, so I needed one for inner peace. So I started using that for inner peace, and then I also was sensitive. I got eczema, and I was sensitive to a bunch of stuff. Can't use perfume anymore. But the main thing was, Brendan Bouchard talks about this. The power plant doesn't have energy; it generates energy. We don't wake up feeling motivated or feeling whatever the desired feeling is. We have to generate that feeling. So the fastest, easiest way to generate an emotion or a chemical reaction within your body is by smell. Smell affects the brain within seconds. And so just by smelling it, and then if you rub it on your skin, then it literally touches every cell of your body. And anything that you say to yourself or that you hear or that you absorb in the news, music, chemical products, cleaning products, your food, it all creates a chemical reaction within your body, which then tells your body how you feel. And so instead of just waking up and just allowing the world to tell me how I feel or allowing myself to be taken with the wind, I wanted to have control over how I felt, especially dealing with anxiety and PTSD for so long. I was like, that's it, I'm done. Like, I want to feel this way. And so I created these oil blends based on the core desired feelings that I had at that time. And people started buying them. They liked the way that they smelt on me, and they were like, please give me some, and started buying them for gifts. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need a label on them so that people know what's in it and where to come and get more. And so it became a business unintentionally. So that's how the essential oils work and why they're so powerful and why people love them.
Oh, I love that. So maybe I need inner peace too. I like that idea of like taking control of, I'm going to feel grounded today. Yeah. Apparently I just want to feel turned on every day. That's not that surprising. I should have known.
I think everybody wants to feel juicy and just like,
feeling
themselves. It's so, yeah.
Yeah. That's so amazing. All right. Well, thank you so much, Karla, for sharing all of this with us today. This has been an incredible conversation, and I can't wait to share it with everyone. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode. Let's continue this conversation in the comments, and for more healing resources, please visit blazebell.com. You are worthy, you are loved, and I am so grateful for you. See you next time.